Hey friends, I'm the Saxophone Oracle. This week we're talking about our scale degrees and why knowing our scale degrees is going to make our lives easier. Now this is another video about efficient learning. This is a technique that we can all do from the very beginning. The very beginner can start doing this. And if we start thinking about music in this way, our learning becomes that much quicker, that much more efficient. We're going to get so much more out of it and we're going to save so much time. Why does knowing and understanding our scale degrees make life so much easier for us? Well, off the top of my head, I can think of at least 5 really good reasons. The first, when it comes to learning, memorizing, and retaining music, thinking about music in this way makes all of that so much more easy and quick. 2, it's essential to transposition. We want to be able to play songs in different keys, our scales in different keys, all of our patterns in different keys. We can't do that without thinking of things numerically, so it makes transposition quick and accurate. 3, it helps us to have a much deeper and better understanding of music theory and how harmony works. 4, scale degrees are critical to constructing our own improvised lines. It's so important to know where we are in relation to the key center and specifically the chord that is underneath us. 5, globally, generally, thinking in this way allows us to assimilate anything musically that our teachers, our band, anything like that that's being thrown at us, we assimilate it much more quickly and efficiently. Now, the beauty of thinking about music numerically in terms of scale degrees is that this is something any of us can do. Even the absolute beginner can start thinking about music this way and then start reaping the benefits of it. There's no real prerequisite other than understanding your key signatures and knowing your major scales. And the major scale is just because the scale degrees relate to the major scale. But we don't need to know all the key signatures and we don't need to know all our major scales to start thinking about music this way. If you only know C major, you can start thinking about your C major scale that way, or E minor or A minor, whatever it is. If you're learning a scale a week, start thinking about that particular scale this way, and it's going to help you immensely. What do I mean by thinking about music in terms of scale degrees? Well, let's use C major as an example. Typically, when anyone learns an instrument, we start learning a scale from the page. So we look at the notes. We see C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C is our C major scale. It's true, and we do need to know the notes that make up the scale. But thinking about the individual notes, there's no practical application to this. There's no way we can use this information other than memorizing, well, the notes of the C major scale or C, D, E, F, G, etc. The same thing goes with the intervallic relationship. So I was in a forum recently and one poster was trying to explain to everyone that the easiest way to learn major scales is if you think about them intervallically. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And yes, I mean, this is useful information, but only from a purely academic or theoretical standpoint. Otherwise, it's completely useless to know what the intervallic relationship is because we can't apply that in any way, either as improvisers, composers, or arrangers. So what we need to do is, staying with the C major scale, think about it in this way. So the root, that's 1, and then 2, major third is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Incredibly simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so that remains the same no matter the major scale. So from the key of F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, let's take a minor scale. So we'll go back to the key of C, C Dorian minor. It's no longer C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C. It's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 8. Aeolian or natural minor. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 8. Mixolydian scale or the dominant scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 8. right? If we think about music in this way, then we can apply it and put it in all kinds of different situations. Whereas if we're thinking about note names like C, D, E, F, G, we're just cluttering up our brains with all this information that we should be leaving that space so we can do other things musically, like listen to the piano player, or think of what's coming up next. It just makes sense to think about music in this way. Here's a brief demonstration of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to play a phrase in the key of C major, a relatively, well, a medium length phrase. It goes like this. One time more slowly. Okay, so if I'm thinking about the notes on the page, it's B, D, C, B, A flat, G, F, E, G to D. Okay, so if I think about it in this way, as what are the literal note names, and clutter my brain with this, it would be impossible to put it in any other key. Like this, for example, F sharp. Or A. B flat. C sharp. E flat. E. You see what I'm saying? If I was thinking about the actual note names, it would be impossible to do that, or next to impossible. So I'm thinking about the scale degrees. I'm thinking 7, 2, 1, 7, 6, flat 6, 5, 4, 3, 5, up to the 2 again. And when I do it that way, I can put it through any number of keys. And for me, it's really a no-brainer. It's really simple. It's really easy. Of course, it takes time to get to the point where you can do it that easily, but it's just to demonstrate that if we start thinking about it this way, this becomes possible. In addition to start thinking about our scales in terms of scale degrees, I would strongly suggest, even if you're a very beginner, to start doing a very quick or rudimentary analysis of the music you're playing in terms of scale degrees as well. So the songs you're playing, looking at the melody notes and understanding as best you can how they relate to the key you're in and to the chord that's happening beneath it. So the example I like to use is the song All the Things You Are, because it demonstrates it very well with a very basic melody. So it starts on the third of the minor chord, and it goes to the third of the next minor chord, and then the third of the chord, and it keeps going to the thirds. So third of the chord, 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 da 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 da, third of the chord, 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 third of the chord. You get the idea. So it's really simple, but it lets us understand what's happening harmonically, how the melody of the tune works, and by thinking about it this way, it makes it very easy to start playing that song in any key other than the original that we learn it in. And one of the beautiful things is that we can work on this without our instruments in our hands. So if we're riding the subway to work or to school, we can spend our time thinking about this. Or if someone's talking too much and we want to drown them out, we can start thinking about this. It doesn't matter the situation. We don't need a horn in our hands. It's a purely intellectual exercise. So if we have 5 minutes a day to think about music, we can think about it in this way, and it's really going to help us. Now I want to demonstrate how we can practice this on the horn itself. So I showed you before how you can easily transpose to different keys, but to get to that point, it takes some baby steps to get there. So I would suggest starting with really small fragments, so a group of 3 notes or a group of 4 notes. I always like to refer to the scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 5. It's a very common pattern in jazz. It's only 4 notes, so we can start thinking about it just 4 notes at a time. So here's C, then F sharp major, B major, right? We could do it in minor, so G minor, C minor, F sharp minor, all right, so little bitty chunks like that. And if we do a little bit of this every day, it's going to come easier and easier. And so if that pattern is easy, then we add a different level of difficulty. We take another group of notes. So you could go 5, 2, 3, 1. Or let's say 1, 2, 6, 5. So we'll start in C again. E. A flat. D. F sharp. C sharp. A very small group of notes. So it's not so difficult to start that way, and you're going to gradually get better. You're going to make the amount of notes you're using longer into longer and longer phrases. Then you'll be able to eventually transpose, a 2-bar lick very easily, a 4-bar lick very easily. But start slowly like this, 3 or 4 notes at a time. The next exercise I'm going to talk about is what I like to call practicing the phone book. So I'm not going to demonstrate it here because I've already made a video about this. It's one of my earlier videos, go check it out, practicing the phone book. But the idea is you get a phone book or you print out a random list of numbers on a sheet of paper and you sight read through them. So you have a sheet of numbers, you assign yourself the key of F major and you play all those numbers sequentially as they relate to the key of F major or G minor or D Phrygian, whatever it is. And because you're using random numbers like this, it costs you nothing. You don't have to buy a book, and they're digits. So there's quite literally an infinite number of possibilities. So you never run out of an exercise here. And the more you do it, little by little, every day, the quicker you're going to get at this. I'm the Saxophone Oracle. This week we were talking about scale degrees and why it's important to think about music in this way. It's going to help us in so many ways. I hope you found the information useful. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It's going to help this channel grow. If you have questions or comments, please drop them below. Send me an email. I love to hear from you, and I love getting ideas for things I can talk about in any future videos. Thank you for watching. I wish you a great week. Happy practicing. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.